Absolutely. Now something that's really helped me.
Do you use humor now?
Yeah, my wife can make anything funny. So I rely on her to bring the humor in because she's
useful.
Yeah, she's hilarious. She's a comedian. So not professionally,
Yeah.
she's just a funny person. And so she can always add that. But now what really helps me, and this is more what I'm like, is I'm kind of preemptive of stress. And so I'll sit down with them and be like, hey, I've got a really stressful week coming up. I just want you to be aware of that.
Yep.
And so, if I'm a bit shorter or I'm running around or I'm not fully present, I just want you to be aware I've got a lot of stuff going on. And if you need me, of course, I'll be there, but just know. And I like to set that up and communicate that because to me, it gives me space to at least let her know where I'm coming from rather than to catch me in a bad moment. And then I end up behaving in a way that I'm not proud of. Whereas now she's aware. So now she's mindful of that too. And she doesn't have to tiptoe around me or she doesn't have to be unaware, but it's the idea that she's conscious that I get it. He's got 3 crazy days coming up and, we can talk about something maybe the day after.
Can I take this one a
Please,
step further?
I'd love that.
It's probably one of the most useful things I have seen changing in a relationship. When you do what you just do, you're attentive, you're caring, you let her know, you're apologetic. And being apologetic is very beautiful, but it still says, my life is very important. And I just want you to know I'm not going to be there. The step that really changes it around is when you say to the other person, I'm so thankful that you are here because your being here is what enables me to go take care of my busy week.
Yes. Absolutely.
Because once you say it like that, you make the other person very important and not, my life is so important, thank you for understanding it. You come after. I'll be there if you need me, but you come after. The thanking reinforces the interdependence. And it's true, because you couldn't go and attend to your life the way you do without having the other person do whatever it takes for you to be able to be absent for a while. And when you acknowledge that, it makes them feel like they're part of the story rather than they're on hold while your story unfolds.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. And I've always found that, at least for me, doing that separately in different contexts has at least helped me when it's not tied to the same context. But I love that idea. And I fully agree with you. Like, I think
it's a nice switch.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's a tweak that really changes the power dynamic in the relationship in a small move.
Yes, definitely. It's switching the significance from yourself to this relationship and the support that you each provide. Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that. I love what we're talking about. And you've probably heard this a million times, and that's what I think it's important to address. A lot of people will say, I want to talk to my partner about these things. I want to be curious about them. I want to ask them about their past. But every time I do, they shut down. They go quiet. They don't want to talk about it. If I get curious and say, hey, when we're not arguing, but when we're just talking and I say, hey, you know what? I just wanted to figure out, like, is there anything that scares you from your past? Is there anything that worries you? Or is there any challenge you're going through? Like, how can I help you? And the other person goes, no, I'm fine. I'm okay. I'm dealing with it. And people often feel like they get shut down when they're trying to be curious. I'm sure you've heard this a million times in sessions. And how have you dealt with that?
If you've tried to ask your partner a certain set of questions and you systematically get the same answer, change tactic. The point is not doing it one more time, hoping that this time you're going to get a better response. It's a little bit like Moses and the rock. You know, the water won't flow.
Yes.
So what I like is not to be so direct. Somebody told me recently that they had gone to an offsite at work. So it started in a different context, but it's a good example. And she organized this whole offsite. And she took a card from the game. From where should we begin? And the card was somebody who impacted your life and doesn't know it. And the whole group went through this question. And basically, people spoke that you knew nothing about, people who never talk, and people who you thought you knew that came up with stories that you had no idea about. Try to do it in a more playful way, Try to do it sometimes as part of a dinner conversation. Try to do it with a question that is less on the nose, and that invites you to then start from anywhere you want. This is an interesting question that you can answer at so many levels of depth. There are many of those. If you just say, tell me about your past, no. You saw this movie and you saw what happened there. It's like, anything of that is familiar to you, and you tell your story. Yeah. You need to create a context.
Yes.
For many people, digging deep into the past is traumatizing, aversive, scary, uninteresting, or they don't have the vocabulary for it. It's the other thing. So that's why people have used the arts. Books, movies, plays, songs, poetry, they speak our human experience with, and we only have to say that. Yeah. That's my thing. So sometimes I say to people, how about you find some songs that express the stuff that you don't know how to talk about? And that's a much lighter lift than tell me about your past, A character that represents the parent that you grew up with. And you go and find into a television series, one of these characters. They've all been written about. Use other mediums, other vocabularies to open up stuff that people don't necessarily want to be in therapy with their partner.